Well, that was embarrassing. Hey everybody, Joe with Joe's Phenomenal, and one of these days I'll start one of these streams properly. Welcome back. Today we're going to try to keep it a little bit shorter. We've had power outages over here all day today, so if I disappear, you know what happened. Anyway, today we're going to be making some shrimp, no, we're not doing shrimp. Today we're going to be making chicken fried rice. Hey, it's Kitchen with Saba. How you doing? Good to see you. Okay, so let's go through our ingredients here. So let's see. Let's switch this over to camera 6. Okay, so today our ingredients today is going to be a little bit of sesame seed right there. We're going to use a little bit of black pepper. We're going to use a little bit of sesame oil. This right here is called mirin. This is actually Japanese cooking sake, so we're going to be using that as well. A little bit of minced garlic. A little bit of salt. Probably we're not using a ton of this because soy sauce has got tons and tons of salt in it, so we'll probably skip a lot of that. Right here is something called hondashi. This is actually red herring. It's a dried red herring. It's used as a soup base. We're going to use that to give our fried rice a teeny bit more flavor. We're doing more of a Japanese style fried rice, so it might be a little bit different from the Chinese stuff you might be used to. A little bit of shredded carrot, some peas, got a little bit of yellow onion. We're going to be chopping that here in a second. Yellow cabbage, green onions, like right there. Obviously, a little bit of chicken breast. And last but not least, our rice. I'm using Japanese rice, Japanese Calrose rice. The key to a decent fried rice is that you don't want to use fresh rice. If you use fresh rice out of your rice cooker, it's going to be too wet. So what you do is you leave it uncovered in your refrigerator just for like a day or two. You'll see how this has become pretty granule and dry. That's the way you want this to be when you try to cook it. Otherwise, it's going to stick super, super bad. In fact, I'd recommend using non-stick spray. We are getting ready to move, and I've packed that already, so we're going to see how it goes without using that. So could be kind of rough, but we'll see. Okay, anyway, let's get all this stuff out of the way here. Saba, how you doing today? Thanks for popping by to the stream. It's not my normal day to do this. Usually we do it on Sundays, but tomorrow's Easter, so we didn't want to try to compete with that because nobody would show up then. Hey Tanya, how's it going? Yes, that's a very good point. Like when you go to a restaurant, like if you go to a Japanese restaurant, like a teppanyaki place especially, they're taking it right out of the rice cooker and they're cooking it right in front of you. That's more because they really don't have a choice. And you know, they've got that hibachi grill a lot of times that they're using too, and that's super, super hot. We're using home equipment, so we're not going to get the same temperature, so you got to be a little more careful with that stuff. Okay, so let's go ahead and prep our ingredients here. Start with cabbage. One of the things I always end up doing when I'm making stuff is I always prep way too much stuff. The key is, I mean, we want the chicken and the rice to be the hero on this. Everything else is a garnish. So we don't want tons and tons and tons of cabbage and peas and carrots and all kinds of other stuff in there. It takes away from the flavor too much. And it's something that I've struggled with over the years, because you know, you kind of want to make stuff really good and you end up overdoing it, which is something I'm prone to do a lot of times. But really, you just saw I just cut like a little teeny piece of it, and that's going to be enough for our entire recipe here. Okay. Okay, there's our cabbage. Get that out of the way. And our onions. As far as our green onions go, we're going to kind of leave these a little bit long, because we're going to use them more as a garnish more than anything else. In fact, when you're talking about green onions, oh wow, that's weird. That just totally changed angles on me there. Here we go. The thing about green onions is that they really are meant to be garnish. So you don't typically want to cook these into your recipes. You want to put them in at the end, so they stay nice and green. Otherwise, they get all gray and crappy. And that's really all we need there. Maybe I'll give it a little bit more. Just like that. Okay, and the only other thing we have to prep here is these white onions. And we'll just dice those. Oops. When you're dicing, always remember to curl your fingers over. You want to use your first knuckle here as sort of a guide. So you bring that back, and then you're using that as a guide to guide your knife downward. You don't ever want to be cutting like this. I see people all the time are doing this thing, and then they're like cutting through. You don't want to give the knife a chance to get you, because it's gonna do it if it can. Knife is kind of evil that way. Hey Bridget, how's it going? That's my wife in the chat. So I better not mess up, right? Okay. Also, I always like to do vegetables first, then I clean my cutting board and knife and everything, and then I do the meat last. That's because the meat has a higher chance to cross-contaminate your food than the vegetables do. They still can. I mean, you still need to clean in between doing different types of things. But to me, I've always felt like the chances of having problems is higher if you're putting raw vegetables onto something that you just were prepping with raw meat first. If you do it the other way around, it's you get to feel a little bit better about it. Okay, then our chicken. Now, if you look at your chicken here, you can kind of see, I don't know if you can see that on camera, you can see the lines on the meat here. You can see the grain. So if you cut, you can either cut against the grain or you can cut with the grain. You always kind of want to go against it. If you go with it, you end up with kind of chewy meat. If you go against it, then you don't. It's really weird. It's just kind of a weird science thing. I was a C student in my science classes, so don't ask me why. I just know when it tastes good and when it doesn't taste good. Okay. Put that chicken back in here for now. Now what we're gonna do is we are gonna cook the meat first. We're gonna take the meat, then we're gonna start the rice, and we're gonna throw the vegetables into that. Oh, you know what? I missed one of our ingredients. Kind of a major ingredient. The soy sauce, right? It'd be kind of interesting to make it without that. Okay, anyway, we are gonna go ahead and get this started here, preheated. Okay, and that would be there. Okay. As far as our oil goes, we're going to use about half of that. You don't have to use sesame oil for this. I just do because I like that flavor when you're talking about fried rice. It really goes good together. And the oil really does make a difference. Okay. My husband was explaining how to slice meat to me yesterday. Something about it pulls apart better when you cut against the grain. Yeah, you're cutting the... It's really interesting how that works. It's just like if you take... if you were to take like herbs, for example, or vegetables. Let's say an onion. That's a really good example. If you cut an onion and you put it into a recipe and you just cut it 2 or 3 times in big pieces, then it comes out one way. But the more finely you cut it, the more flavor you get. It's something about slicing the molecules and stuff like that. It just releases more. So that's why if you have like garlic and it's super finely minced, it tastes like you have more garlic than you do if you're just taking entire cloves and throwing them into the mix. Okay, that is heated up. Okay, so we'll go back to that. Go ahead and throw in our chicken. We're gonna pretty much cook this pretty much all the way through here. I'm gonna give that a little bit of soy sauce, even though it's really not necessary. A little bit of pepper, not too much. And we'll use a little bit of the salt that we have here too. Again, not a whole lot. Remember, you don't want to use too much salt in something like this because definitely we're going to add a lot of salt when we use our soy sauce in there. I use low sodium soy sauce, but honestly, it's low sodium soy sauce still has buckets of salt in it, so just something to remember. Yeah, you're gonna have to eat most. Bridget, you're gonna have to be eating most of this. I am definitely overweight, so it's all on you. Yeah, another thing to remember too is if you're doing some kind of recipe that's got multiple different types of vegetables and stuff in there, the hardest vegetables obviously take the most amount of time to cook. So if you've got, let's say you've got cabbage, that takes a little longer to cook than say spinach or something like that. So pretty much the denser the thing is, the sooner it has to go in. So you can't just throw all your vegetables and everything in together. You want to kind of layer them in a certain order. That way everything gets done about the same time. You don't have anything that's overcooked or anything that's undercooked. Hey Daily Tales, how's it going? Yeah, I got these peas and carrots too. You know, I don't know how Asian peas and carrots are really in fried rice. I kind of feel like that's like an American edition in the fried rice, but I don't care because it tastes good, so whatever. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you put whatever you want into any dish you want. If you like it, I mean, who cares, right? I mean, I've gotten into that debate with people about pineapple pizza, I don't know how many times. And you know what, I got a lot of friends that like pineapple pizza. And I got a lot of friends that don't, so, I mean, really, it's just a matter of your own personal preference. This, we're going to add our garlic in here in a minute. We don't want to do that just yet, though, because I don't want this to burn. We're just going to flavor that, so we're kind of putting that in sort of near the end. Okay. As far as these vegetables go, we're going to go ahead and add in these onions, because that chicken is just about ready. Our cabbage and our carrots. The peas, those are pretty delicate, so we're going to put those in last. In fact, we're going to put those in after we already have the rice cooking. Because really, frozen peas are pre-cooked peas, just frozen, and that's kind of what I'm using today. And for the most part, that's what you get unless you're buying them in the pod. Okay, so garlic. Okay, we're going to let that finish. I'm going to go ahead and start the heat up on the other pan here. This is going to be a much faster stream than last time, I think. Oops, that was the wrong one. That's the right one right there. Okay, so we're heating that up. We're going to take the rest of our oil here, put this in here. Now, one thing to know about woks, because this could be a little bit of a disaster here, and I haven't used this wok very much. Number one, this wok is cheap, so it's not very good. And number two, I'm using an induction cooktop here. When you are using a wok, typically you want to use gas because you want the fire to come up the sides here. And if you don't have any fire coming up the sides, you're not going to properly heat the sides of your wok either. So really, this is going to heat right down here in the middle, and that's kind of what we're going to get. So it's going to take a whole lot of shaking things around, trying to keep everything from not sticking. But we're going to have a big temperature difference in the side of the pan and in the bottom of the pan, just because of what we're trying to do here. Okay, while we're letting that heat up, this is about done. So we'll take that off the heat. We'll set this aside. This will be ready to go in here in just a moment. Okay. You can always tell when your oil's ready because you'll start to see it ripple. You can see that right there. I don't know how well you can see it on the camera. When I roll this around, you see the ripples? You can kind of tell too because we got smoke, but just kind of ignore that. Okay, now, probably overheated that just a tiny bit. Key with a wok, you ever hear stir fry? That's because you are stirring a lot, and that is what we need to do, because this is going to stick almost immediately, especially without me having any non-stick spray for this. Okay, we're going to add in the hondashi right here, and the mirin around the edges. Remember, the more we stir this, the better. We don't want anything sitting on any surface too long, because this will stick immediately. In fact, I could see some of it sticking a little bit down here already. Oh, you know what? We forgot our eggs. It's okay. We can fix that. See if I can do them really quick. A lot of times you want to do your eggs separately, but we ain't going to do that because we're going to live on the wild side here. So I'm going to put this aside, and we're going to throw our eggs right. Actually, we're going to throw them right into the rice here. Okay. I would switch cameras so you can see this, but this is starting to stick already, so better not do that. Yeah, normally you cook your eggs separately, but we don't have time for that now since I kind of messed up. So I'm just taking these eggs, gonna beat them up really quickly, and we're gonna cook those right on top of the rice. You just have to remember we gotta stir that pretty vigorously. In fact, we're probably going to try to add some volume to this, and we are going to throw in our vegetables right afterwards. Okay, let's get this out. There's our eggs. Put that right in here. Let that cook just for a second. Two ways to do it. You can either cook your eggs separately and you get them kind of like scrambled eggs, and then you just throw them in already cooked, or you toss them right in there and you cook them along with your rice. Either way is fine. It's going to be a little bit different result. You're not going to have big chunks of egg in here, obviously, if you do it this way, but you're going to taste that egg in a lot more of your rice. So just depends. It's one of those things where you need to really try it out and see how you like it. It does make the rice a little bit more wet though, because you're adding moisture. So you have to remember you're increasing your chances of causing sticking and stuff like that too. Okay, now we'll add in our soy sauce. We don't want to pour the soy sauce directly on the rice. We want to put that around the edges here and then stir it in. That's starting to look pretty good, actually. And now, whoops, didn't see that. Okay, we got our rice here, and we're going to add in our vegetables and stuff and our chicken. Just like that. Stir this up a little bit more, and we're going to start adding other things. Depending on how high you have your heat, I've got mine up like a medium high. Now that we got all this extra stuff in here, we probably want to run it a little bit higher. Okay. Yeah, I can't believe I forgot those eggs. That was that's what you call a flail right there. There's our peas, a little bit of black pepper. You know, this is going to be a much shorter stream than last time. Our last stream we did a whole bunch of different kinds of meatballs. And really, I was only supposed to do one kind is what we were going to do. I think we were going to do a meatball marinara or something like that. And I had 5 different ones that were in this poll that I put up. And they all got a lot of votes. It was kind of even. So I was like, well, why not? We just did all 5 of them. But I wasn't really thinking about how much time that was going to take, so I had a 2-hour and 40-minute stream trying to do all that stuff. Not complaining or anything, it was fun, but you know, you get it. Okay, we're gonna let this cook a little bit because we want this to dry out a tiny bit more, and it probably does need a little more soy here as well. Just really want to get that color, that nice kind of brown color to it. Now remember, I'm doing Japanese fried rice. If you've ever had fried rice at a Japanese restaurant, most likely you've had it. If you've had it there, you've most likely had it at the teppanyaki tables where they do all the tricks and cook in front of you. That really is more Japanese style rice. It's a lot less dry. It's a lot, at the hibachi tables they're using, we were just talking about that a little bit ago, they do use fresh rice instead of letting it dry out, which typically is not what you do, but in their case they kind of don't have a choice, they have to. Because they've got to cater towards people that, some people want fried rice, some people want steamed rice, and they don't want to bring two big things of rice out, so they just kind of cook it like that. But typically, Japanese fried rice it's not as granule and dry as like a Chinese one that you get from like Chinese takeout. A little bit different. Whether that's better or not, you know, I'm Japanese, so I'm gonna say it's better that way because I'm super duper biased, but not necessarily. This needs a little bit more pepper actually. Let's just kind of play it by ear here, or by eyeball. You notice we haven't really stopped stirring this the entire time. And like I said too, if this pan was hotter, we would have been done a long time ago, but we're having to kind of do a little bit of a balancing act here. Okay, let me taste this really quick. Well, that tastes good. That tastes right. Still a little bit wet, but not bad. Not bad at all. So we can go ahead and finish this up. So we're going to take our sesame seeds, throw those in here, toss that in really good. That's not really a fried rice ingredient, but I like them, so whatever. Okay, and the last ingredient to go in here is going to be our green onions. Once you throw those in there, you want to turn that heat off because we don't want those really cooking in here. We just want them to be looking pretty. Okay. It's looking pretty good. Okay, now all we gotta do is plate this sucker up and then we're ready to eat. All right. A bowl there. Try to arrange this nicely. It's the one thing, you eat with your eyes as much as you eat with your mouth. I mean, I can't tell you the number of times I've had food that was just really great tasting, and it's just not as good if it doesn't look pretty. kind of a sad thing, but it's true, I'm telling you. I've had plenty of good buffet food and it looks like crap, so you know how that goes. Get a piece of chicken right on top there. Okay. And that's how it looks right there. Let's see if I can... Well, that light is killing us here. Let's turn this down a little bit. There we go. A little chicken fried rice. What would that take us? Like 20 minutes? Something like that? How long have we been on live here? Yeah, under right at 30 minutes. So not bad at all, right? Okay. Let's get this back where it was. And I could answer a couple of questions here really quick for you. Okay, let's see. What do we got here? Let me get caught up on the chat here really quick. Let's see. Oh wow, this thing's flying all over the place. Okay, peas and carrots, yep. You know, the butter, sometimes yes and sometimes no. You know, I've done it with the butter and I've done it without the butter. It's better. The butter will give it a nice brown color too. It'll help fry it a little bit more. Typically, I tend to use either butter or oil, one or the other, just depending. I don't use them both, but you definitely can. Okay, and the coconut aminos for gluten and the soy-free diet. Diagnosed with high gluten intolerance. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, celiac disease is serious. Yeah, sorry to hear that. Yeah, the aminos, the coconut aminos are actually really good. And that stuff tastes almost exactly like soy sauce to me. It's really, really good. In fact, a lot of times, if you were to give somebody those aminos in place of soy sauce, they're not going to be able to tell the difference. So that's a really, really good choice for that. It cooks the same way too. Let's see. Okay, and you saw the ripples. Okay, good. I'm glad you can see that on the camera. Yeah, the eggs. That was gonna be a big fail there because normally I want those to sit out and get to the room temperature before I cook them. So they went in there cold. Yep, I'm doing it all in one pan. That's a good idea, especially when you don't want to make a bunch of dirty dishes. Yeah, Bridget gets to have all the food. She's, you know, I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing though. You know, that's the good thing about being a YouTube cook. You really don't know if my food is any good or not. I can just come over here and, you know, grab a fork and I can just be like, oh yeah, this is the best. Yeah. That's the best ever. You know, it's easy for me to say that, but is it really that good? Never know. All for views, right? Are electric woks worthwhile? I haven't tried the electric woks. I'm still trying to find a decent wok for an induction stove. Just the fact that, man, because those things are really designed for fire, so you really need a lot of heat along the sides of those things, and I haven't really seen one that really does that too well. I was thinking about picking up a Hexclad wok. They're pretty expensive, but I think I'll pick one up because they're supposed to have really, really good heat disbursement. And if that's the case, then that might actually work out pretty good as far as cooking something like that in there. So probably in the next few weeks after we get done moving, I'll probably go grab one and we'll try it out. Hey, there's Chip. See him down there? It's over there. Hey, Chip. Chip. Let's see if he comes over here. Chip. You want to be on TV? Come here. Come here. No? Oh, it's okay. This one does though. See? That's Moo Moo. And then, come here. And then this is Bean right here. Dolly, come here, Dolly. They think they're in trouble. Dolly, come on. No, they don't want to come over here. Okay. Okay, yum, yep. It came out good. It came out really good. I'm really happy with it. You know, you never know. Sometimes, you know, cooking live, things happen. In fact, I'm surprised that we're still online because we had the power go out twice today, and I was kind of worried that it was going to go out during the stream. Anyway, we'll probably go ahead and call this a day because we got our fried rice done. And I'm really glad that you guys came out and checked it out. I know it was really short notice on our stream. I had it scheduled for tomorrow. I didn't want to compete with Easter, and actually we're going to do it the following week. But we got a move coming up, and we've got some issues with the new house to where I'm not exactly sure what kind of internet I'm going to be able to get over there because it's out in the rural area, and we just don't have. There's nothing out there. So we're going to be trying Starlink from SpaceX Starlink, and we're going to see how well that works. I'm not sure how well we'll be able to stream on it, so we're going to find out soon enough. Anyway, thanks a lot, guys, for showing up. Really happy to talk to you guys, and hope to see you again really soon. So until I see you again, I hope you guys have a phenomenal day. Take it easy.